Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Dastardly Duos, which is a brand new boss rush game mode coming in patch 11.15 of The War Within. This is a 6-week in-game event, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this event, how it works, what are the rewards, all that good stuff. But before we jump into that, I do want to give a huge thank you to everyone over on the Patreon. Just started posting over there fairly regularly, and I really appreciate everyone who's supporting over there. So if you do want to help out the channel by supporting on Patreon, I'll leave a link down below. Right, so yes, Dastardly Duos. As mentioned, this is a 6-week in-game event which is coming in 11.15. As of the recording of this, we do not know the release date of 11.15, but it is currently rumored to be around April at some point. And we also don't know when specifically this event will begin. It might be at the beginning of the patch, or it might be several weeks afterwards. So this event is a boss rush mode featuring bosses from World of Warcraft's past, which we'll talk about in a minute. This is a 1 to 5 player experience, which is cross-faction and is instanced, which you do queue for. Now, if you are a solo player or don't have a full group of 5, the missing spots will be filled with NPC companions, but you can choose to dismiss them if you'd like to. But yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any particular reason to do that. It's just the followers from the follower dungeons like Captain Garrick, etc. Now, the area where this is taking place is in 3 different areas. You have one in Dornagal, one outside Stormwind, and one in Orgrimmar. All 3 of these areas are exactly the same, with the same NPCs and the same vendors, so really it's just personal preference on which one you want to choose. So let's talk about the gameplay of this boss rush mode. So as mentioned, you do queue in for it in one of your locations in Dornagal, Stormwind, or Orgrimmar, and you can queue as many times as you like. You can smash this as many times as you like. There's no currency, there's no lockout, there's no nothing like that. So if you do just want to slam your face against it to try to get the highest score possible, that is something you can do, obviously within the reasons of, you know, instance lockouts and things like that. So once you queue pops for Dastardly Duos, you're ported over to Undermine into an instance version of Undermine over by the arena. This is used several times for the Underpin, Liberation of Undermine, the World Boss, the PvP arena. This area is used a ton of times and is once again going to be used for Dastardly Duos. So before the match, you can just kind of hang around this area. There are different things you can click here to give you different buffs and things of that nature, obviously just to help you out on your Dastardly Duos match, but you don't have to use these if you don't want to. Once you go up to the gate, you can start your Dastardly Duos match, and this will begin a 10-second countdown. Once the countdown is finished, you'll see a 5-minute timer on the top of the screen, as well as a high score number. Now, the time can be increased with different items that you can get from duos. There are items that increase it by 30 seconds or even a minute, and obviously the more time you're in there, the higher the score you can get. And that's kind of the aim of this game mode, is to just get the highest score possible. Now, from my research, it doesn't seem like there's any particular reason to get a super high score, mainly just for bragging rights, but there are different ways to get high scores in this match. You can kind of take NPCs to certain areas, which gives you 2 times score. You can spawn even more bosses with different items that you get from Dastardly Duos matches, and there are just different ways of getting higher scores by doing it kind of faster or dying less and things like that. But yeah, so what you want to do here is basically just kill everything you see. So when you begin, there'll be a bunch of trash around and different props you can kill to increase your score. Once all the trash and props are killed, this is when the bosses will start to spawn. You'll start with 2 bosses, and there are actually 10 potential bosses which can spawn from World of Warcraft's past. You have Glubtok from the Dead Mines, Foe Reaper 5000 from the Dead Mines, Baron Silverlane from Shadowfang Keep, Lord Walden from Shadowfang Keep, Rattlegore from Scholarments, Watchkeeper Galgamar from Hellfire Ramparts, Brogok from the Blood Furnace, Hydromancer Thespia from the Steam Vaults, Mechaneer Steamrigger from the Steam Vaults, and Chronoloord Epoch from the Culling of Strathern. So 10 random B-list bosses from World of Warcraft's past are going to be featured in this game mode, obviously from Vanilla, TBC, and Wrath of the Lich King, which is cool. Now, these bosses do have their mechanics, be it, you know, kind of basic, but they will have their mechanics, and obviously they will be scaled up. Once 2 bosses are killed, 2 more bosses will spawn, and once those other 2 bosses are killed, that's when the game ends. Now, as mentioned, you can spawn more bosses with different items you can get from duos, but for the most part, if you just want to kind of do a basic run, you will kill 4 bosses in total, and these do rotate weekly, it seems. Now, once the game is ended, you will get your score, and this is based off various criteria, such as damage, speed, and the amount of deaths you have during your Dastardly Duos match, as you can just die and respawn as much as you like if you do start to struggle with it. And that's basically it from a gameplay point of view. Once the match is ended, you will get a chest, and you can open that chest to get some rewards, and that's really why we're doing this, for the rewards. So let's talk about rewards from Dastardly Duos. So at the end of a successful Dastardly Duos run, you will get a guaranteed veteran piece of gear at item level 632. This is going to be a Warbound Till Equip item, and it's just going to be a random piece, which might not be good for your particular class and spec, but it might be good for an alt of yours. The items themselves are actually updated versions of the items from the classic dungeons, as mentioned. So, for example, there's a chance you can get a veteran level Foe Reaper from the Dead Mines, which is actually pretty cool. Now, that is guaranteed at the end of your run. You're always going to get a veteran piece for your alts or for a character that needs catch-up gear. But that's not the only gear upgrades you can get in Dastardly Duos. There's also a way to get a champion piece. So each week of Dastardly Duos, there will be a weekly quest which does reward a 645 champion level item. This is per character, so if you do want a bunch of characters to get a champion piece per week, all you have to do is complete one Dastardly Duos match, which is actually pretty easy. On top of getting a champion piece, there'll also be a cosmetic item in that weekly quest. So in week 1, you will get the Dastardly Banner toy, which is a spawnable banner of the Dastardly Duos logo. In week 2, you get the Winner's Podium toy. This is actually a really cool toy that you can spawn and actually shows off your high score of Dastardly Duos, and you could get your friends to join you on that as well. There's actually one of these in the area as well, so if you just stand around that, you can see everyone's high scores, but this is one that you can spawn, and you can get various upgrades for this to show off different things, like your item level, for example, which is cool. Week 3, you get a new pet, which is the Spicy Mean Bull. Week 4, you get an upgrade to your Winner's Podium to show off your high score. Week 5, you'll actually get a mount called Tyrannotaur's Treat. This is a brand new ground mount, which is a very pale looking turtle. This is actually a really cool looking design of this mount. I don't think we've had anything similar. Obviously, we've had turtle mounts in the past, but this design is actually really cool and unique. So yeah, it is a ground mount, obviously, and this is a reward from the week 5 quest. On the final week of week 6, you will get an upgrade to your Winner's Podium once again to show off your average item level. So yeah, if you want to do that with your friends and show off your average item level on a Winner's Podium, that's a reward for week 6. On top of the cosmetics from the weekly quest, there's also a vendor which does sell some cosmetic shoulders. Now, these shoulders can be purchased for 500 resonance crystals each once the appropriate achievement has been completed. The achievement required is simply just to defeat bosses. Obviously, this is going to take several weeks as you will not see all the bosses in week 1. But yeah, to be able to purchase the yellow and red shoulders, you're going to need 2 bosses defeated. To purchase the purple shoulders and the green shoulders, you're going to need 4 bosses. To purchase the blue shoulders and the black shoulders, you're going to need 6 bosses. Then finally, once you've got the achievement from defeating 8 bosses, you can purchase the Dastardly Pinch Sapper Staff Transmog for 500 resonance crystals. So not a ton of cosmetics, but there is something nice to aim for there. So really the reason you'll do this is for all catch-up gear, and of course that champion piece per week if that is going to be an upgrade for you, and of course the cosmetic rewards. And also there are a bunch of achievements linked to this event. There are 12 achievements in total, which actually do have their own section on the achievement list. Now, these do not reward achievement points, as this is a time-limited event. So these achievements are just going to be feats of strength, obviously after the event concludes. Now, completing some of these achievements will actually give you upgrades inside Dastardly Duos to get an even higher score, so it's definitely important to be doing those. Some of these achievements include defeating certain bosses, getting the different upgrades to your Winner's Podium, gaining a high score each week, walking a certain distance during a match, which is pretty interesting, destroying props and picking up various things in Dastardly Duos. None of them seem super difficult, and it doesn't seem to be a meta achievement as of the recording of this video. So yeah, just a couple of achievements available for Dastardly Duos, but as mentioned, you're not going to get any achievement points from completing these as it is time limited. But yeah, that's it, guys. That is Dastardly Duos in 11.1.5. Now, personally, I kind of thought this was going to be similar to the Brawlers Guild, and I guess in a way it sort of is. I don't think the mechanics of the bosses are super complicated. Obviously, testing this, we are decked out in like mythic level gear, so obviously it is a little easier for our characters to test this out. But for the most part, I think this could be quite a fun event if you really get competitive with it, to try get your high score against your friends or other players on the realm. As mentioned, you can show off your score in like a public area, which I think is actually really fun, and I'd be curious to see how high people's scores do get with this event. But yeah, let me know down below, guys, what you think of Dastardly Duos in 11.1.5. Are you excited for it? Are you going to do it? Are you just going to get the champion piece each week, or are you going to do it for transmog or cosmetics or whatever? Let me know down below your thoughts. So guys, if you like this video, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I'm also on Patreon and I'm on Twitter at MrGMYT, and I have a partner Discord channel as well. And also I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. Been streaming a lot of the 11.1.5 PTR as well as Season of Discovery, any sort of World of Warcraft. So if you want to check me out on stream, twitch.tv/MrGM. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.